In this video, I'm going to discuss and try to get a better understanding on using the daily VWAP and its standard deviation levels. I'm going to be using 1 hour bars um, to study how the day unfolded, and I'm also going to be taking into consideration the volume profile. Um, I'm doing this for USDCAD, and I'm going to look at where we open. Do we open inside a value from the previous day, above, or below a value? I'm going to look at the developing value area highs and the developing value area lows and how they played out. And I'm going to look at the previous day's value area high and value area low, um, and now how they affected the existing day, the day that I'm looking at as it unfolded. Uh, One note is the previous day does not predict what the next day will be, but what it can do, it provides boundaries. So the highest high for the day and the lowest low will give you boundaries for where you can think of potential areas to target or potential areas to take trade from, or potential areas to determine where stops would be. The insights, however, can be gained from knowing the level of the most recent past several days. So if I string together 2 or 3 days and I look at the value area there, um, I should get more information rather than just looking at the individual most recently closed day or just the developing day. It's got to be looking at 2 or 3, 4, 5 days together to get better locations to see the story a little bit better. So I've just chosen a random start time here, um, and I'm looking at September, the week of September 7th. So um, on this day here, the start right here. So on this day here, we open inside a value, but the thing is, the Friday before that, there was not a big range. Um, so the value area high from Friday and the value area low was very, very small in range, which provided, as the day progressed, provided it looked like it was going to be support, um, because on the actual day on Friday, we had come down and hit the value area low from Thursday. And so this is what I'm talking about in using several days to kind of get a picture. So now, uh, most of Monday, or almost all of Monday here, it was initiative buying. Initiative buying is when we see price continue to go up above the developing value area high. So um, on this bar here at 4 o'clock, we'd come down and test the VWAP, and then 5 o'clock we move up from the VWAP to the value area high, and for the remainder of the day, the developing value area high served as support, and we moved up and we broke through this at the 12 o'clock bar, and then after that we came and we started to form a new value area up here. Um, and that new value area uh, turned out to be, from the profile, it turned out to be the value aligned with the value area high from this day of initiative selling. Then on, so there we open inside of a very, very narrow value area range, and we saw for the rest of the initiative buying. From that, um, we opened above value, and from that, trading above value after this complete initiative day plus a very tight day on the Friday, um, we come in and we have a day of oscillation where we open above value, we come down, we test the value area low, we break up above the value area high, and then we come back into value, and you come back into value and we can't break the value area high, then what we're looking for is not only the value area low to be tested, but we want to get into this range here where this new value area uh, was the was starting to form. So as price starting to come into here, we could start to think of taking long trades. Um, Long trades on the lows, not on the highs, because if it could easily break through that and slip down, the higher probability would be down to the bottom, and that played out. So on this day here, um, the initiative buying was limited for these 2 hours, and then it was limited on this bar here because the next bar came right back into value, and then um, we see go from the value area high down to the value area low, and this here would have been a nice trade, a destination trade. Over here, uh, you wouldn't think of more of an extension down. You just take this here and to go from value area high to value area low. And if you were wrong on this, definitely stops have to come back above here or close above the value area high. The next day we the next day now we open. Now we when this day opens here, we are armed with the information that we already know, and I would come in every day before the market opens and every day after the market close, and I would review this story, and I do it. This is homework, which part of the homework is to review. It's not to predict, it's not to uh, guess where it might be going, but just to review what has happened so that um, you can see the interaction between buyers and sellers and who's in control. Continuing, what I would have known this information, and I can see that there was a strong support level here, and that price was moving up with some strong initiative buying, and the value areas were increasing. So value area was here, then it moved up the next day, then it moved up the next day, and then it moved up again here. And we can start to use the value areas as the previous day's value areas as areas of support. So on this day, we came in and we couldn't quite get to the VWAP down here. So when we come up here, when we open this day here below value, we would expect that either price would come further down and test the low of this value area, or head back up and test the highs of this value area high. Now, the way we would read that is if it was going to come down here, then we would need to see initiative selling coming coming down to it. And initiative selling would be selling below the value area lows. If it was going to come up to this value area high, then it would be initiative buying, and initiative buying is buying above the value area high, the developing value area high. And so we'd have evidence to support this. We would see uh, closes and opens above the developing value area high, and we would see it follow through. We would see a break of the value area low the previous day and see that it's not holding as a potential resistance, and if not going into resistance here, here, and here, it wasn't moving price further down, and we break above it on this bar here and we continue on the next bar, then we would think that this would be a move up, a come back down, and the target should be right up there. Um, that's how it played out. Another possible way that it could have played out, it could have come down here, test the value area low, and then move further up. If that didn't happen, then it would come down, break through the value, developing value area low, and come down, and then we would see initiative selling below that, and we didn't see that. So it's what you see is what's going to happen, and what you want to look for is where it's going to. So if we had start to see initiative selling here, then we will look for it to come down, at least down to the value area lows from this day here. And then if the opposite, we see value area highs, then we're looking for the value area high of the previous day. And if that can't hold, then we're looking for the highest high. um, and if that can't hold, then what's telling you, again, coming back from all the information we have here, when you look at the daily chart, you'll see this a lot more clearly. And of course, we don't just look at this chart that I have up here in isolation. When I'm trading, I'll be looking at, and when I'm doing my homework and my preparation, I'll be looking at all the different timelines and trying to bring the story together. And then, so when you're seeing initiative buying, like we see here, and we see that it's attacking this here, and you wouldn't, even if you took a short here, you would get out on right here, or you'd get out on the stop, a small stop above the value area high here, and because this is not going to come down until you start to see closes inside of this value area here. And I'm just going to skip forward a bit and talk about that for a second. And here it is right here. So let me get rid of all these. And so we're on this. If this was going to come down, you need to see this value area here, which started to get, which was drawn here, until I start to see closes inside of this value area right here. It's not coming down to this level, this value area low. And exactly how it would look, it would be initiative selling, and where would it come down to? And you can see this start to slow down right into this value area here. And this is how, Nazar, you should look at the information and bring it all together. Um, and where does this terminate? Right into the lows there. So that'll be a nice place to think of, hey, I want to put a limit order for a long trade there, because we have all of this information and we know the biases to the upside, and our risk level would be very low here. Because if you take a long trade right here expecting it to go up, your stops would be uh, your stops would just be right below this yellow box. So you wouldn't want to take a stop all the way down here, or want to see it come down here, because potentially if it comes down here, it could just bounce right back up. So why would you put a stop down here? Because this would be an ideal place to take long trades. This is an ideal place to take long trades too, with tight small stops just below it. You don't want to take the bigger one. You want to have your capital available so that if it comes down here, you can get in and take a long trade, and hope that it goes up. If you're wrong, the stops go below this tight day, which was right here. All right, I'm going to stop at that. I think there was some valuable information there that I could learn from, and it's not easy. It's not even possible to sit here and say this is where you get in and this is where you get out for when in your preparation on how to trade. But what you can do is use the information that you have that's already been given to you to give you areas that where a move may terminate, that where a move may go to. So, in other words, if you're in a position and it's going against you, you don't want to put your stops to that point where you say, hey, this is where I think this is going to terminate, because what if you put your stop there, what's going to happen is, if, for example, if you had taken a, get rid of all this again. For example, if I had taken a long trade right here, expecting the market to go up, I wouldn't want to put my stop down here. Because what's going to happen, because we know this level, with this level is coming from right here. So if I'm going to take a chance right here, given the information I have, and take a long trade right here, I would not want to put my stops down here. I'd want to put my stops right below this yellow box, because if it gets below that, then where is it going? It's going right down to it. Yes, I know it came down here and it came back up. Um, and When you see it can't break the value area high, we always sell the value area high and we buy the value area lows. When you see it can't break that, then and when you see it coming back down here, you got to think that this is not going to hold because we've identified a stronger support level, which is down here. Now I know you said you could buy the value area high, sorry, buy the value area low, and if I had bought the value area low right here, the stops must go right below that because you don't want to put your stops down here. If you're going to put your stops, depending on the target you want to take and the risk you want to take, if you want to put your stops below here, that's fine, but then that's a bigger risk. Uh, and if you think that's the area it's going to hold, then maybe you want to wait for price to get closer to that. The point is, trading is about preparation, it's about adjustment, it's about knowing the market sentiment. And they're going to do things, the market makers, the market is going to do things to confuse me. They're going to do things to make it look like they're going one way, but they're really going the other way. They wanted me to think that they're going down here, but we should have recognized, based on the homework and information we already have, that if it gets down here, you want to see it break through. Because if it doesn't break through, it's going further. And therefore, this is just a misdirection because we know the market is to the upside based on all the information we have back here. And that's why you see this impulsive move right up. And where does it go to? It goes into value and then up to the value area, the Vwap. Um, and where does it come back to? It comes back into this. And where does it go back into? Right back into the value area. And that's how you just kind of know your levels. You can see this level holds, extend this out. This level holds, and then we get initiative buying all the way up, and it continues and it continues. All right, I'm gonna leave it at that.